Okay, before we were rudely interrupted by technical difficulties, and it still looks like it's pretty low.
Damn, Jigga. This ain't the best session.
1 2 1 2. That already? Okay. IJS Radio, that was too loud.
Jeez.
IJS Radio, what up? It's your boy, John Montana, and my co-host.
I am Scott J. Sycamore.
Yes.
And I'm sick of more liberties being impinged upon. So Chavez is dead.
Yes, Chavez just died today of apparent cancer, or cancer
with
poisoning,
quotes,
as he alleges, by the CIA, and this is just coming from the people in Venezuela claiming that he was poisoned by the CIA because he was anti-CIA and anti the Anglo-American version of the New World Order.
He was anti the white Western Illuminati types.
Exactly, but he was totally for his own version of global socialism. So he was no
Globalism. He wanted to install a...
By the way, you're too close to the mic.
No, I'm good. That's fine.
Yeah, but if you get closer, then I have to get closer, and then it's really...
No, I'm just trying to have my voice heard without, like, having to yell, which we shouldn't be doing anyways.
Exactly, but you gotta
go
back a little bit.
Dude, I'm not speaking loud. You're tripping.
Just go back a little bit, because my voice is really low right now. There we go, that's better.
I'm doing the right thing, I promise now.
But then I have to get closer, dude.
Then get closer.
It gets really gay, dude. All right, we're sharing the same mic. This is not an Aerosmith
Just
concert.
Stay back. Yo, you're Steven Tyler. I'll be Joe Perry. Talking shit.
So anyway, who's gonna die? That's what the question I was asking before the show is. Who is next? I mean, you got George Bush Sr.'s on his deathbed. The Queen seems to be getting sick all the time. You know, you got Hillary Clinton. She was getting sick all the time, and I think that was probably...
Or maybe you're sick of...
Probably a joke.
Maybe you're sick of her. You and the rest of the Republican establishment.
I mean, I think, I'm definitely sick of her. Not as any kind of Republican or anything like that. I think in general, I'm sick of her shit. You know, a lot of Democrats are sick of her shit as well.
What happened with Chavez? So something happened. He died now. Who takes his place? And what does it mean in terms of Latin American
Well, his vice president
spectrum
is going to take his place, and his vice president is already alleging that this was some kind of assassination by the U.S.
Of course,
government.
because everyone's a truther now.
Yeah, and if you know, this is the guys. I mean, we're gonna see probably like Ahmadinejad get killed next or some shit like that. You know, it's the guys who are basically not down to like share their oil. You know what I mean? Who are down to fucking sell their oil for cheaper, but not like sell out to like Halliburton and all these companies. Those are the ones who are getting taken out.
So really all these clashes of ideology are about resources, like the religious thing in the Middle East, the socialist versus capitalist thing in South America. It's really just how much oil you got and how many coca leaves can we chew.
Well, you know, the president of Argentina also was killed recently.
Whose wife became
assassinated by the New World Order.
Yeah, and then his lady sort of took over his whole legacy.
Yeah.
This hot cougar who
Gaddafi.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like all these people that, you know, we saw Obama shake their hands and all that. It's kind of like give them the kiss of death on the cheek. You know, these guys are all systematically all the, you know, the Batman supervillain like. You
going out there, Khalid shaking hands, Mohammed.
Of the School of the Americas. You don't know what that is.
We mentioned that in a previous
School
installment.
Of Assassins.
Yeah, Professor Xavier's Dark Side Academy.
Yeah, they're all getting taken out. All the
so maybe
all the little tin pots are getting taken out.
The tin pots. Okay, so on the same momentous day, the stock market spiked.
Oh yeah, the stock market all of a sudden is exploding right after the sequester. Everybody thought the sequester was going to destroy the economy, and now it's being credited for this little stock market economic boost. You know, which I predicted was going to happen. Any cut to government you make, even little cuts, or it's going to basically increase confidence in the market because they know that they think that their taxes are going to go down. They think that this is a good time to buy, so everybody buys.
Well, fools hated the bailout too, but according to what they say, it actually did a bunch of good. I still think it's the wrong
but if you tell
thing.
Wall Street that they're not going to get bailed out, then Wall Street is actually going to start functioning well without destroying itself. Because if it knows it's gonna get bailed out, then they just start destroying their own fucking stocks because they know that that's the way they're.
It's corporate welfare. It's the crack and alcoholism of the financial world, like just keeping you
exactly. You want to
doing fucked up behavior.
Yeah, you want to keep yourself addicted so that you can claim, you're like too big to fail, and then you can claim that the government has to help you. If they don't help you, the economy's gonna crash.
Too my nig to fail.
It's
no,
basically
you're the homie.
It's a hostage situation that Wall Street has. The relationship that Wall Street has with our government.
With Y'all Street.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be the gov, but we know it's not because they some DC insiders over there. They ain't from Montana. Or like, Arkansas or Northern California.
So we got to stop bailing them out. You stop bailing them out, and then they can't hold us hostage anymore. You know what I mean?
But
that's the point.
We live in a terrorism-based news, government cycle.
Yeah.
That's
And I keep saying, every time we start cutting government, all of a sudden we start seeing shifts in the economy, and it starts blowing up again. Like we start seeing people come up again in the economy. And after World War II, we started cutting spending and cutting the military and cutting all this shit, and we saw a huge spike in the economy. Same thing with in the 90s, the government shutdown. Everybody thought, oh, it's the end of the world, and the economy's gonna collapse. Wrong. It was the biggest economic, boom like ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As Johnny Cochran might say, cut spending, start lending. Banks, do your job. Although they don't even want that because
Johnny
they
Cochran
want all
said
hard.
that?
No, it's a Cochranism. Johnny Cochran was, taken out by the elite, as you know, and
like all of the other OJ lawyers,
right.
and key witnesses.
Yeah, man, they get to these 1% attorneys and everything. That's them mafia-licious tactics. So what do you make?
And that's why Furman has to hide in whatever state he lives in. Right? It's just
Mark the Führerman.
Yeah.
What do you make?
Sorry.
Oh, that's a message.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, so we're seeing the rise of real street superheroes, like the guy who turned in a criminal dressed as Batman.
Yeah,
he was dressed as in England. You said it's a fake.
Yeah, they're all real street superheroes. But no, this guy was a friend of the guy who was gonna turn himself in. He was gonna turn himself in anyway. So the guy's like, all right, well, I'll escort you there, dressed up as Batman. But this is England. This happened in England. All right, these guys are fucking whimsical ass.
Does this portend a actual rise, if you might use the term, of regular person superhero? People patrolling the streets.
It's happening. Like I hear stories of real life, like vigilante type, Batman type,
kick-ass type stuff.
Yeah, everywhere. It's happening everywhere, but it's just not being reported. And then they report this one, which is not really a case of a real superhero, but just a guy who dressed up as Batman while escorting his friend who was turning himself in. You know what I mean?
No, but
it's a joke. It's not, it's not the real thing. But we have real like supervillains out there.
But yeah, so supervillain. What do you feel about? What do you feel about the actual super-powered superheroes that are supposedly out there somewhere, whether it's in government bunkers or just living in their apartments, not flexing?
I don't know what it is, man.
We don't know.
You see stories of people who can, tell the future and move objects with their minds, just like in X-Men and shit like that. And these stories are popping up everywhere. And stories, it's just weird. Like there's stories of people getting sucked into sinkholes everywhere, all around the world.
People named Bush in Florida.
Okay, in Florida, there's a guy named Jeff Bush, not the former governor of Florida, but another guy who happens to live in Florida named Jeff Bush,
not Jeb,
who was sucked into a sinkhole. And maybe that was Hell who thought it was Jeb, but it was really Jeff. And they made a mistake just, by 2 letters.
But as a lot of true heads know, the sinkholes have been appearing around the world for a few years now. And it's one of those unexplained phenomena. It really is. It's like the next version of a crop circle, but a lot more dangerous, it sounds like.
Yeah, like what the fuck is that?
I know them shits in the fields have radiation and whatnot, geometric patterns and stuff, but I mean, this is like, oh, you're sitting on your couch watching a Labatt beer commercial.
Popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
and especially like in just recent months, like it's what the fuck is going on, man? Like something weird is going on.
It could be supervillain testing ground. Like maybe people are making this happen with psychic powers and shit.
First Pope resignation in like 1,000 years or something like that.
600.
They're talking about this guy from Ghana now.
Is it Ghana?
Who might be the next pope? Yeah, to get his name.
Not
Like,
gonna
that would
do it.
Fit in with the fucking black pope thing in the Bible. So all these crazy Bible thumpers are probably saying right now that everything that's happening right now is what the Bible predicted. When what I think it is just the government, is very clever, and they read the Bible and they fucking reenact these things that they read in there, and that's why it makes it look like it's the end of the world, but it's really a stage apocalypse, like all this fucking crazy weather that turns out to be caused by chemtrails and shit like that.
Fucking ocean vacuum suction tornadoes and shit. 2013 is a year of revolution and revelation. That's all I gotta say. Like the 2 R's. Remember that. The reading, writing, and arithmetic of the spirit wars. That's what it's gonna be, yo. It's just it's wild stuff out there.
It just boggles the mind.
Yeah, it's there's just things going on. I've noticed a lot of people angry. A lot of people just doing strange things, interesting things. Like there's people doing good out there. There's happy folk, and then there's just like this deranged, Chris Dornerati.
Make a more specific prediction, because I like to make specific predictions.
No,
I usually end up being right on those, man.
No, I mean, oh yeah, sure, yeah. Let's get your quatrains out, son.
I knew that everybody, Castro's had cancer forever, but I knew that Hugo Chavez was gonna be next to go. I knew that he was going to die before Castro. Even though Castro is old as fuck, and Chavez is only 58 years old. Chavez is more of a threat to the Anglo-American New World Order than Castro is.
We might see someone vaguely linked to Hugo. I mean, in the case of Fidel Castro, he would be closely linked. But people like that. His brother's already running shit. So. Yeah, people like that are just very old. And the Castros, the Herbert Bushes, even the Queens and everything. But
Chavez was a young guy. He was only 58 years old.
Yeah, exactly. He was on Tim Russert territory.
Yeah, and he claims he was poisoned. And so
could have been for years, wearing down his system.
So it kind of makes him into a hero. Like a lot of people, like I was watching, Barbara Walters talk about Chavez. Like he's like a great guy, just friendly, just awesome personality, and just really charming guy. And you see him hanging out with like Danny Glover and like Sean Penn. These guys were his entourage. You know what I mean?
I'm sure Geraldo's met him before. These cats talk to all kinds of people. I mean, Jewish reporters talk to Ahmadinejad and like Yasser Arafat and stuff.
He's definitely being martyrized in the media, in the left-wing media at least. The right-wing media is being like, what are you talking about? Like, this guy was a fucking dictator.
Let's see Lawrence O'Donnell's take on this shiz.
But there's definitely even people a lot of people in the conspiracy theory movement whose names I will not name,
those who cannot be
on
named.
Their fucking Facebook pages, like, R.I.P. Hugo Chavez, because Hugo Chavez, one thing that can be said about him, whether you like him or hate him or whatever, is that he was a 9/11 truther. You know what I mean? So a lot of the conspiracy theorists out there, claim that he was murdered.
He's the Dan
assassinated.
He's the Dan Hopsiker of South America.
Yeah.
Or someone like that.
So yeah, I mean, so I can understand why a lot of 9/11 truthers like feel that he was like one of us somehow. But I mean, let's not forget, he was part of this globalist socialist construct that wants to destroy us all. But yeah, he did tell the truth, and that's what I keep telling people. That's what I keep saying, that they only let the bad guys tell the truth. Like, they'll let Ahmadinejad talk about 9/11 truth, or Hugo Chavez, or Fidel Castro. They'll let the bad guys talk shit about America. You know what I mean? And, and actually tell the truth about 9/11, and tell the truth about things that we won't hear from our leaders over here ever.
Hugo Chavez is the Latino Mike Rupert.
That's why, and that's designed in that way so that when people like me and you do get on the radio and tell the truth, they're just gonna say, "Oh, you just heard that from Chavez or from fucking, Ahmadinejad. You're just a fucking terrorist.
Yeah, you're a parroter.
You agree with Ahmadinejad that 9/11 was an inside job. So that's why they let the dictators get away with saying shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The bad guys are telling the truth, It's to make us good guys look like bad guys, look like we're the fucking threat. You know, look like, as Mark Potash would say, we're the fucking...
We a threat,
we're
son.
the militia racist movement that, you know, threatens America. You know what I mean? Like that. Anybody who
Fools
thinks
do
that
deep research.
That anybody who actually tells the truth about the government and its activities will be put on that Southern Poverty Law Center list.
Oh, we found out that California has the highest number of hate groups. That's a big tale.
Of you know, supposed hate groups that, you know, really just truther groups that are considered hate groups by the Southern Poverty Center.
The people that
California has the most. Then Texas is second. Then third is Georgia, where Mr. Jack Blood is at. And then fourth is New Jersey, which surprised me. I didn't even know they had. Well, I guess it makes sense, though, because it's right next to New York. New York is probably where there's a lot of truthers also.
A boy of mine, a friend of mine, said New Jersey, who's from Jersey, he said New Jersey is the state. It has like, it's always in like the top 5 of everything, like top 5 hate groups, top 5 millionaires per capita, top 5 garbage dumps, like every single thing.
Brokest of the
top 5 brokest,
most violent.
top 5 fattest governors. Like it just keeps going, you know. But I guess basically, it's that. What do you think? I was going to ask you something like that. Oh yeah. In other words, the type of groups, the hate groups. You mean the type of people that listen to David Icke? Or is it those types of people?
Yeah, like the Southern Poverty Law Center believe that people who believe that there's some kind of new world order that wants to take over the world, and that
need to stock up,
and that, you know, just to kill American citizens and stuff like that, and then take people's guns away and all that. People who believe that there is a government that wants to do that, which is the actual truth. There is a government that wants to do that. But people who believe that
sounds like truthful
are considered hate groups by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah, and
SPLC.
Every rapper has a list of hater groups also. But but they have the hip hop cops to deal with. That's a whole different tale.
Yeah,
hip hop police.
You and I are considered by those guys, the SPLC, are considered fucking a hate group.
Maybe you, because I ain't hating. Well, anybody against Jews. That's what it really is. You know
they
that.
They associated with Jews, but, you know, like they put like Alex Jones on that list, and he's married to a Jewish woman.
The Pauls of the world.
Yeah, they try to say that they're just defending like the ADL. They're just trying to point out anti-Semites or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But
there's real gangsta shiz. I think we see the rise of superhero, supervillain battles. Disgruntled people everywhere.
So like basically like if you criticize the Federal Reserve because the guy who runs the Federal Reserve has a Jewish last name, if you criticize the Federal Reserve, then they're gonna say that you're anti-Semite. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why we have
the bait. The Jew thing is a bait.
We have the Hebrew hammer. That's why we have the Hebrew hammer to help us out, to protect us.
Don't fall for that shit. You know, don't let them call you a racist or an anti-Semite just for telling the fucking truth. You know what I mean? Like, have some balls.
So what you're saying is truth is Juniversal. I'm just saying radio. All right, we out.
All right, we out of here. That was a good 18 minutes.
Almost
That's not
20
too bad.
minutes. That's like half of our usual time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it's good. Turned in a
peace.
quick performance.